What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Pony Lawson, and today we are critiquing some questionable collector submissions. So if you've been waiting patiently to see your tattoo on this series, well, today might be your lucky day. Before we get too far into it, I want to thank each and every one of you for subscribing, as we just passed our first milestone of 100,000 subscribers, and we could not be more thrilled. Seriously, it's crazy. We truly do appreciate all your support, and we are looking forward to putting out even more content. That means more podcasts, more tutorials, and of course, even more of these tattoo critiques. And remember, if there's something you would like to see on the channel, just let us know in the comments below. We do read each and every one, even the mean ones. But seriously, thank you guys so very much for all the support. It really does mean a lot to us. But for now, let's check out these critiques. Alright, this first tattoo was sent in by Quinton, and normally we get right into the critique, but this one has an interesting backstory that I think you might enjoy. So bear with me as we go through this. Quinton says, 7 years ago or so, I got this tattoo. Long story short, I traded a cheap vape for it. Oh boy. I had seen other work done by the same artist and it looked good. This was a home-done tattoo in a trailer. It never got infected or anything, and healed really nice, so he did a good job. But long story short, this ended up taking him 2 sessions because he decided to use a single needle for the entire piece. I just got into your videos on YouTube and I was curious what you might think of this POS I got for essentially $30. Is it fixable? The guy used a stencil for the first half, but the stencil ended up coming off, so he decided to freehand parts of it. It's a funny story, but I've been thinking about trying to get it fixed. Well, let's see what we've got. Here is what he wanted. I'll give you a second to take it all in. And this is what he got. Trust me, I have the same feelings. All right, well, the first mistake I think you made is going to a trailer to get this tattoo in trade for a $30 vape. I think anybody that needs a $30 vape that bad is probably not somebody that you want to get a tattoo from. And I'm assuming he used a single needle for this tattoo because that's all he had. I mean, if you can't afford a $30 vape, what makes you think you can afford tattoo needles? I have so many questions. Oh man, did it hurt? Looks like it hurt. All right. Sorry, this thing's got me up. I mean, I really just don't know what the artist was thinking. I mean, I guess it kind of has the same shape as the reference. I mean, I'm genuinely curious to see the other good work that you saw in the artist's portfolio. Because if I saw this, I'd run for the hills. At least he's got a good sense of humor about it. This thing is ridiculous. And is it just me, or does it look like the Wizard of Oz Scarecrow decided to become a SoundCloud rapper? So this tattoo is the perfect example of why you don't go to somebody's home to get a tattoo. And you asked, is it fixable? I mean, technically yes, but it's going to require a lot of work, and it's most likely going to be an extremely large cover-up. So maybe start saving up those vapes, Quinton, because it's gonna take a lot. All right, well, up next we've got a tattoo sent in from Frank Annison. And Frank, you sent over this glorious hourglass candle with some wings. Now, compared to the last tattoo, I would much rather wear this one. However, that doesn't mean it's great. You did mention that this was done by a newer tattooer, and it looks like it. This is a lot of real estate to be taken up by somebody so new. I guess my first gripe about this tattoo is the placement itself. Personally, I would have lifted this tattoo a bit higher just to make it fit the chest more evenly, but that would require making this tattoo a bit bigger. And again, that's not really something that I would let a newer tattooer do. So for me, it's just a little too small and a bit low. But since it's here, maybe you can think about integrating other tattoos to make this a bigger piece overall. Another thing that's kind of driving me nuts is all that grease that's all over. It's very hard to tell what's going on, especially when it comes to where the wings meet the hourglass, which is unfortunate because I feel like that's where a lot of the detail is happening. One quick word of advice to the tattooer is to wipe the tattoo clean before taking the photo, so that way we can actually see the tattoo. And this is definitely something we've talked about before, just making the tattoo as presentable as possible before sending over the photo. And not just for us, but to the rest of your clients. People want to see what these look like. They don't want to see all this grease smeared around unless they're on Pornhub. But from the detail we can see, the shading is a bit uneven. The wings on the left side, the shading goes all the way to the edge, whereas the shading on the right side kind of stops about halfway through the feathers. Symmetry is pretty important if you want to become a tattooer. And don't even get me started on the outlines. They are all over the place. You've got some lines that are super bold and blown out, and other lines, like in the bottom of the hourglass, where they're barely there. So as a newer tattooer, he should really be practicing on fake skin. Also, what is all this ink on your stomach? It's nowhere even close to the tattoo. This guy is messy. Well, Frank, this is better than the first tattoo we saw, and definitely not the worst we've seen. My advice to you would be, if you're going to get something so large, maybe go see a seasoned professional. But thank you so much, Frank, for sending that in. And we do love you. All right, let's see what's next. All right, up next, we've got a Pokemon tattoo sent in from Tash. Tash, let's see what you sent in. All right, here we've got a Pokemon tattoo, and I'm pretty sure this is Eevee, surrounded by a collection of recreational crystals. And my guess would be that the artist was using those recreational crystals. I mean, this tattoo is so blown out, it almost looks older than Pokemon's been around. This is a fairly simple design, but it looks like the artist wanted to add more to it, so they added all these drop shadows that are going all sorts of different directions. But as simple as this one is, it does seem like it was rather difficult for the tattooer. And to be honest, Eevee doesn't even look that happy to be there. Obviously, I know this is a heart above Eevee, but I'm not really sure what's going on either side of the heart. I would even think that a true Pokemon fan would have a hard time distinguishing what's going on here. And if they did know, then I would guarantee that they're not too thrilled about this. You can't be showing up to Comic-Con with this tattoo, they're just gonna make fun of you. But you did mention that you're working on getting this removed, so good luck on that. And remember, there are loads of great Pokemon artists out there. And you know, there's probably even some bad ones that would do a better job than this. So thanks for sending that in, Tash. Real quick, I want to take a break to give a shout out to the sponsor of our channel, Mad Rabbit. Mad Rabbit is a tattoo aftercare company with innovative products geared towards keeping your tattoos happy and healthy. So if you're in the market to get a tattoo or you're a tattooer yourself, head on over to madrabbit.com and use code PONY20 to get 20% off of your entire order. All right, let's get back to the show. All right, these next tattoos are sent over from Mikey. And Mikey, the first one says, Rackaholic. Why? This most certainly belongs as a sticker on the back of a Ford pickup. I mean, it's not the worst tattoo, but let's see what else you sent over. All right, this next one you sent over is of a cute little minion. And this one's better, but I'm very curious about those legs. Like, where is that first leg coming from? It's not his third leg.
It's a tripod.
It seems like the tattooer was trying to create some sort of perspective, but it really looks like he's got one small leg and one larger leg coming out of the wrong part of his body. The green is an interesting choice. I bet you were in line for that last Minions movie, all dressed up in a suit. I think my favorite part about this tattoo is its little face. In particular, their goggles. But in all honesty, this one really isn't too terrible. It could definitely use some contrast in some areas. Like that yellow, for example. It would have been nice to see some darker yellows or even browns in there just to give it some nice shape. You can see that the artist used some darker blues in the pants, but where they put those blues just really don't make a lot of sense. And I'm assuming that's because they put the legs in the wrong spot. I will say it's a little sad that this is the best tattoo we've seen thus far. So I'll give you a little credit. But that Rackaholics tattoo, what were you thinking? Next. All right, this next tattoo is sent over from Kyle. And Kyle, you sent over this rather odd-looking Chucky tattoo that kind of reminds me of Spike from the Gremlins. And it's really just his teeth and his beady little eyes that remind me of that. There's just something off about his face. It kind of looks smashed. And listen, I know at this point in the Child's Play series, he was destroyed, but this looks busted. Someone didn't put him back together right.
You gotta be kidding me.
Another thing that really bugs me about this piece in particular is the way that the artist ended this on all sides. The top, the side, and the bottom, he really just comes off as a potato. And there's really no space to add anything else in between those other tattoos that you have, so I really feel like that those could have been blended together a bit more, instead of just ending it with a black shape. Even the perspective is just weird. I mean, that ear is so far away from where it's actually supposed to be, it kind of just throws the whole thing off. I mean, the scars look real, maybe because they are. But you did send in another tattoo that I'd like to give you some credit for because this one is way better than that Chucky tattoo. Now, this thing isn't perfect, but there are some really good elements to this tattoo. And you can at least tell who it is. The teeth are sharp, and the shadow behind the teeth just really shows some nice depth. So while the Chucky tattoo might not be the greatest, at least you've got something decent on the other side of your arm. And I'd be curious if that is from the same artist. Because my guess would be no. And if not, I would just stick with the artist who did Jack. But thank you so much, Kyle, for sending those in. Well, that was a lot of fun. It's been a while since we got to critique strictly bad tattoos, and a lot of these guys knew they were awful tattoos before they sent them in. So you can't feel too bad for them. But I do want to thank everyone who submitted their artwork. And remember, if you'd like to see your tattoos critiqued here, or shit on, you can do so by sending them to ponycritiques@gmail.com. Don't forget to subscribe while you're here, and as always, I will see you guys next week.